Good evening, welcome to the Abington Conservation Meeting, December 11th, in the Buckley Room. And before us, we have a notice of intent for 60 Richard Road, Donald Chapman, K-Dunn Realty Trust, construction of an attached garage 24 by 36 within the 100-foot buffer zone at 60 Richard Road. John?
Thank you. Good evening. I'm John Cotter from the Russell Wheatley Company. I'm here with Mr. and Mrs. Chapman. They are the owners of the property at 60 Richard Road and here in Abington. And we're here to see if we can get an order of conditions so that they can go forward with a proposed 24 by 36 garage that they are. Well, everything's all colored in, so we're all set. As I said, Mr. and Mrs. Chapman are the owners. The property itself is located on the east side of Walnut Street and north side of a private way that was not constructed, and Richard Road. There is also a 125-foot wide electric power line easement that traverses through the northerly section of the property. A bordering vegetated wetlands line flagged by Brook Monroe Pine Brook Consulting, shown in green. Did I put it in green on yours too? Okay. Runs from approximately the center of the easement to approximately the end of the stone wall that's shown on the plan. The lot is currently in the R30 residential district, and there is a single-family house located on the southern side of the property. Topography. The topography of the lot is relatively flat in the front of the house and dips down along the sides of the house to the rear yard. The rear yard is there again also relatively flat. A garage, as we've said, 24 by 36, is being proposed to be attached to the southern end of the existing house shown on the plan. A driveway is also proposed, and that will run to Richard Road. Garage's proposed location has been approved. They have been in front of the Zoning Board of Appeal, and they do have an approval from the Zoning Board of Appeals. There is no filling of wetlands in this filing. However, Mr. Chapman does want to go into the backyard and do some slight grading, just basically top coating the backyard where he's got some depressions, and he is going to be removing some trees, which is shown on the plan. Again, outside of the within the buffer zone, but outside of the bordering vegetated wetlands line. As I said, all of the work is being proposed within the buffer zone. Sedimentation fence is being placed as shown on the plan. That I do want to change and give you these plans because I did move the sedimentation line. As you can see, I put it in purple, only because Mr. Chapman does want to make a little more of a backyard out there. It's kind of overgrown, so he does. It still will be outside of the buffer, the 10-foot buffer that the board does like to see on the site. So there will be no impact on the wetlands as you see.
John, could I stop you for a second?
Sure can.
I'm having some concerns. The 100-year floodplain, this line here is the 100-year floodplain.
Yes.
Well, it doesn't usually happen, but occasionally the 100-year floodplain is outside where the wetlands delineation is. But that's considered, anything in the 100-year floodplain is considered land subject to flooding.
Okay,
So I think it's actually, the wetlands line belongs along the FEMA 100-year flood. Usually they more or less coincide, but, you know, it's a house.
Yeah.
It's been developed,
Yeah.
and, you know, we don't do the maps. You know, FEMA does them, so unless you can test the map. That was my, and I was trying to print out the 100-year floodplain map, but it was, when I went to the print version on Mass GIS, it was not putting things in the right place. It was moving the map.
Okay.
So it didn't look right. But there's a hydraulic connection to across the street, to the wetland across the street, and then Stream River is up there, so that the FEMA floodplain seems to go along with that, and this is on the outskirts of it. But that was my one issue. I don't mind that they're putting a garage in, but where does the, sorry, is the garage inside the 100-year?
no, it's outside.
It's
Everything-
outside.
It's outside of it.
The problem is, I think the grading that you want to do would fall in what would be
Well,
considered.
I wouldn't call it grading as much as it's just, all he really plans on doing is, if he has some irregularities, he just wants to level them out. It's not, he's not looking to put so much fill that you would really look at it as being an area of, that he's filling a flood area.
Is the area already grassed? Is it already grassed?
Some of it is grass, some of it is kind of woods. He's taken out like a shrub layer, and he has taken out a few trees.
You know, because the whole problem with the 100-year flood is it's intended to, you know, let people know, and it's to
Yep.
hold the water.
Right,
In this
right.
case, we're talking about holding the water, not so much the vegetation. You know, but the vegetation helps hold the water down. You know, you
Right.
start taking out trees and stuff, we don't want to create a problem either, so.
The line that's on here that says treed line, is that the treed line
That's
the back end?
about the edge of the woods, and then there were some
Okay.
fairly large trees that were located, that he wanted to, take
The
out.
flood zone is right at the back of the garage.
Yeah.
And then you have this area here. This one he wants to take out, which should be just fine.
I think this one we had, I think they came to us before.
Oh, did they?
Jerry and I went and looked at this. This was an emergency one. That I think the trees were either falling down or they had to take them down. So.
But I'm okay with that one. It's really what we do back here,
Yeah,
you
'cause
know?
I think we went there before.
Yeah,
Yeah, and I'm okay with that, because they're still within the 100-year, you know,
Right.
they're well within, and that makes sense. It's just a matter of, you know,
The tree
what,
line that's here.
the tree line that's here, should we be messing with it?
And the trees that are here.
Yeah, should we be messing with them, unless there's a hazard of some kind? This tree here obviously would have to come out.
Right.
I don't think I have an issue with that one either, sorry, I missed that one. So this area here, the backyard thing, is probably where I have the issue. And I think we should clearly mark that this is, you know, where the limit of their wetland is on the map, rather than, or call it as land subject to flooding, you know, under the act. Because I think we should clearly put that on the plan, so whoever gets it
Okay.
later isn't surprised, that's all. I'm okay with the garage, I'm just not sure if I'm okay with the
Right.
grading.
Yep.
I don't know what everybody else thinks.
Yeah, I'm okay with the garage. And then if we were doing limited grading here, but before the tree line, I would say nothing should be touched after the tree line, even this clump of trees.
Yeah, I would agree.
You know, so if you did
Because
wanna
if
do
this is
stuff-
already flat, and, you know, they should have a little bit of
Yeah,
room to
what
get
we
in and
call-
out.
We were calling it something at the Griffin's Dairy. They were just gonna do,
Scenic pruning, vista pruning?
no, they were just gonna fill in some of the high spots, the low spots.
Just to even it out.
Yeah.
And I could see that, you know, if you want to
Well-
have some ability to get around the yard.
yeah, and those two trees that, well, one's
These,
gotta come
this,
up with the garage, gonna go
the-
down the
these two in
hill.
the front, I don't have any problem with. I think those are
Yeah,
both,
well, I'm just talking about the one where the garage sits.
yeah, that has to
And the other
go.
one right beside it,
Yeah.
probably go. And then if they do a minimum of using the loom, That
In
would
the
be
back,
all right,
in the,
you think?
in the back here, yeah, just not
to
this
do a
tree.
minimum.
Yeah.
Not
no,
this
would-
tree.
not-
So just leave it, the limit, his limit of work would be the limit of the tree
The
line?
tree line.
Mhm.
That's how much of you had.
Yeah.
Yeah, your lot just sits right on,
You
it's
just,
wetlands
you're
and
surrounded,
everything.
you got over here and you got them across the street.
Yeah.
And with the river, it's just one of those locations in town.
Mm-hmm.
And the house has already been there, so, you know,
I mean, this is all half dead brush.
In the front of the
stones.
house?
No, the rear of the house.
oh, the rear of the house.
Where this line is, this brush line is, with the exception, that's mostly this brush, dead brush and stones now, with the exception of this tree here. I mean, there's plenty of them out behind there. That's just designated on the plan because that's the only ones that we want to remove. It's all woods from this point on.
Mhm.
This just enables us to put a little fence up and make this our family house.
yeah, it's the same, just like Kathy was saying, that this is really the FEMA floodplain that's right inside here, so you really don't want to be closer to where that is. We keep people off of the,
We would probably,
BBD 20 feet anyway.
Yeah.
Probably say 20 feet off of this.
but we typically, you know, if we had a wetland line, we wouldn't let people work in here.
Right.
We're actually giving you a little bit of leniency because it's already cleared.
Mhm.
And, you know, it's, you know,
Right.
we'll let you try to figure out and make that at least something usable. It's just back behind this tree line. You know, you're stepping into territory we really probably don't want to deal with.
No. And we do sometimes let you do vista pruning if it's really dead stuff and it's gonna cause a hazard, like a fire hazard or something. We'd let you pull some of the stuff out. But you wouldn't be able to plant anything back there or seed it or do anything else.
You just have to let it grow back.
Right.
And usually vista pruning means just cutting it down.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean yanking
Pull
out the
the root-
stumps,
yeah,
and the
taking the
roots.
roots out.
Taking the roots out. Just means chopping a little bit.
Okay.
So, you know, what I think I'd like to see is a revised plan with the land subject to flooding identified. And the removal of this tree taken off. And I think after that, I would be okay with it. I don't know what you guys think.
I'm perfectly fine with that.
Okay. Are you okay with continuing the hearing? So
We have to continue it anyway because.
No
of-
number?
No file number. So
Typical.
it's, yeah, I called today and he was gonna try and get it done. He was out in the field, he was gonna try and get it done and get it in, but apparently he didn't make it, so.
Okay.
So we were gonna be requesting a continuation at this point anyway.
Okay. I make a motion to continue the hearing to, when's our next hearing, Nancy?
January.
Is that,
Next one, 2 weeks is Christmas Day.
we're not meeting on Christmas?
Can't have that.
We're not having that, are we?
No. The 8th of January?
Yeah.
Okay, I made a motion, Jerry. That's okay.
All right, so someone second?
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Perfect. Thank you, guys.
Okay.
And then everything else is all set for just that. All right,
Yeah.
very good.
The
I think we
garage
just
is
need it.
fine.
I think the wetlands plan was fine. There's nothing else, I think.
Okay. then
That I found
that'll
that was an
Be the only
issue.
thing for the meeting, yeah.
Mhm.
Very good.
Okay,
Thank you.
you're very welcome.
Good sized garage. That should be fun. You need more than one, Nancy?
You didn't put revised on it?
No, I didn't. I
Oh,
will.
but you're gonna give us
I'm gonna be giving you
No.
another, I'm gonna
Yeah.
be giving you another revised plan anyway. What did you want to say on, just so I'm,
Land subject to flooding.
land subject to flooding?
Oh, I didn't see this.
Email to Jerry. Right, on note 4 on the map there, it does say that portion is subject, of the subject property is located in the flood zone area.
Yeah. Oh, maybe, yeah. Yeah, and just the 3 18-inch trees to be removed, just.
Yeah, these are
They
staying.
should stay. Because they're within that tree line.
Okay? And I'll have to well, obviously I'll move the sedimentation. I can put that right on, I mean, I might as well just put it right on the tree line.
Mhm.
Yes. Yep.
That would make sense.
Okay.
Perfect.
Thank you very much.
No, man. I'll have them for the next one.
That's fine.
That's fine.
I got
Correspondence?
licenses.
Oh, it's the end of the year.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Nancy, you're always so prompt with these that you do get a break once in a while.
And there was short meetings, but this is like
Pass
the
that one.
license.
Sure.
I'll talk to Nancy Damon.
Something new?
The building permits, any building permits, there
I
was
think
no
one's for him.
conservation involved, the minutes. Correspondence, Nancy,
That's it,
that's it?
yeah.
Something from the Mass Association of Conservation, National Grid is telling us,
Are they doing pesticides again?
yeah, must be. The paper I put in front of you is from Nancy Damon, and she wants, remember we discussed about their bridge, and someone said about 24-inch pipe, if you read the little note,
Yeah, Mike Newton brought that up.
yeah.
Can I make a comment on this? We can tell them what our recommendation is, but
But we're not engineers, I understand.
No, and the second part is we don't have a filing in front of us so that, you know, a year from now when this comes up, the 7 of us might not be here. You know, I don't know
Well,
who's
it's gonna
gonna.
be that long.
Yeah, it's
just
gonna
to
be
get
that
it.
long. You know, I think that we can tell them we're amenable to something, but I don't think we can.
Well, that's my thought, is the fact that we're not engineers, we can't be engineer and tell them what to put in, but
Well, the other
we don't
thing-
care about the pipe. It's, once it's have the right pipe in and the right engineering.
But, you know, I think we're presuming too that we're gonna approve the pipe. You know, we don't
Well,
know.
we don't,
yet.
but no, it's not our job to prove the pipe.
Yeah, right now.
I would say that we do this. We would approve a, how do I want to word this? We would approve something that an engineer would state that, you know, it meets all engineering specs and
The 100-year floodplain,
Floodplain, blah,
and
blah, blah.
whatever else.
whatever he has for calculations for whatever the water is that's up behind the field, that comes through that area that's behind the town hall, behind the library, whatever he makes his calculations for that size of a pipe that would go underneath a
Yeah.
bridge
Right,
that flows downstream, we would approve something like that.
okay.
But we couldn't tell them that, oh, gee, was a 24-inch pipe's great, yeah, good
Yeah,
use it.
well,
And then later
I
on
got the
find
email
out
this morning, and I thought
Backs up.
it's best to ask you guys
Yeah,
and
what-
put it in front of you so you know what's going
What they
down.
need to do is, because I'm coming from community preservation, is they just need to give an estimate to community preservation for what the work is gonna take, so we give them enough money to do the work, to, you know, put a bridge in.
Right.
So,
They were
you know,
gonna check with
frankly,
the contractor at the
they-
high school to see if he'd do it.
and he wouldn't.
Yeah,
But to see what they could get, you know, I think they should err on the conservative side if they're asking for money, because they can always turn the money back to us.
Yep.
But, you know, my comment would be that they should, I would tell them to go with the 24-inch pipe if I gave them advice, just because that's probably gonna be the more expensive option. So to, you know, it's good that they're getting a couple of, you know, different estimates, but they're gonna have to go out to true bid at some point for
Right.
this. So my comment would be, in general, be, you know, go with the more expensive one for now, and then do the design later.
Right.
But that's my,
Okay,
you know, I've
well,
tried to
just
say
call
that a
Nancy
few
and tell her, no
times,
big
but I
deal.
don't think they hear me.
Yeah.
yeah,
And I don't think we should be deciding the 24 or the 12.
yeah. All right, very good.
I agree with Joe.
Yeah, they should definitely have, they're gonna have to get money to get a consultant to do the engineering on the bridge layout
Yeah.
anyway.
Oh, I know that. I know that.
And then, you know, they can do
We're not,
the piping on that, and then they can bring it out to bid to have somebody come out and look at it
yeah,
as a contractor to build it for them, so.
okay. Anything else?
Did you guys talk about enforcement last week?
Yep.
Procedures?
Yes.
Did you come to any conclusions?
I forget.
we have to start the process.
What process? Sorry, I'm behind. I
Well,
didn't watch TV,
there's-
so,
There's a lot of rules in doing it. I mean,
yeah.
I have,
Actually, Mike, what we did do is we had Mike wrote up something that we were gonna put into the bylaws.
bylaw.
As far as, and it goes back to the same thing that when we first started on the board, we wanted to do we had the violations, so that you'd start off at I think it was $100 violation, or $50 violation to 100.
It's already in the
It's ridiculous.
bylaws, guys.
There's something that's not in there though.
It was, you guys revised it, and
Right.
it was just a short little paragraph, and
But there's a bylaw that's in for everybody in there. It's
I thought there was, but we couldn't find it.
it is, there's an overall one, because I was on the bylaw committee when we did it.
And it says
And it
not
has-
more than $300 a day.
It's a warning, and then there's like a process that goes with it.
Right, my thing was, as I brought up, was that, I think to be more stringent would be if we do have somebody that is violating the Wetlands Protection Act and they're doing it, but not in they didn't know that they were doing it. I just said, well, when they come in, why don't they get a $50 citation?
This is from 2015, Section E.
That would,
Yeah,
at least
this
to be
is, there's a overall bylaw that is like a ticket system that anybody can use. We probably should pull that out.
Yeah.
I'll pull it out.
That's the Conservation Commission one.
Yeah, but I'm telling you that there's,
There was another one, I know there was.
I'll
you know which one I'm
email
talking.
it, yeah.
You know which one I'm
I'll email
talking
it
to everybody, and then maybe we
tomorrow.
can talk about it at the next meeting.
Yeah,
Because, I think what you're saying, there should be something.
We have multiple people that violate, even if they don't know they're doing it, they do know they're doing it. Nobody ever gets
There's
fined.
no
There's
repercussions.
no,
I
there's no
mean,
fine.
and there's some obvious examples of people who haven't followed through, so.
Right.
And I think that we need to do something. And I also think that, I think it's great. We go out and some people are very cooperative and cooperatively react, but we also don't have a way, we're not documenting that we've been out there before,
Right.
somehow in a list.
I don't know if you were here, but I had an example of it, was when I went up to Dana Nash's property. I was.
Oh,
met
no,
the fellow-
I hadn't heard this one.
Pardon me?
I didn't hear this one.
Oh, well, someone called about a violation of Dana Nash's property. If you know where it is, in front of the golf course.
Yeah,
The house to the right is the new one. That's where Dana and his wife Vivian live, and they're both have passed on. And I met a fellow that was living in the main house. I assumed that he was married to one of Dana's daughters, but they're divorced, and now he lives there with his children. And I said, there's some bricks over there by the wetlands and stuff, and a lot of stuff going in there. Oh, I know that. I says, well, could you get the bricks out of there for me? Oh, sure, I'll do it for you. And he knew who I was, so. And then I believe, when talking to Nancy, that someone is trying to, house is in, not foreclosure, but probate, and someone's trying to buy it. And that someone is the one that made the complaint. So I went by one, I just looked over, but then I realized I can't go on the property because there's trespassing signs, so I couldn't do anything. I went up one day, up the driveway where this fellow lives, no vehicle, so I left, so. And that's how we get into the enforcement and stuff like that. So
Because
what we did is, we sent them a cease and desist to the address with a return request, right?
yeah, we haven't heard any.
okay.
And
Yeah.
if everybody gets it, they have to see it, and then anything starts, we'll get notified, so.
Right,
That's where it's
right.
at.
Right,
And that's
but-
how we get kind of started on going on to it.
Yeah, no, I know, I think it's a good thing because we have a lot of these little things that happen. One, keeping track of them, like having a log might be a good thing, just that, we know. But I also think, your point is that we need to do a little bit more on, like beside the warning. I think the warnings are always fine because a lot of people are cooperative. But at some point,
Oh, yeah, well,
we need to have some
they know the rules.
little bits of fines to get people to do something.
Right.
I think I agree with you there too, because I've seen, I don't want to bring up examples, but, there are examples out there where I'm aggravated.
Right, since I've been on the board, we've never fined anybody. It's always
No.
been a warning or a cease and desist or something, and nothing ever really.
We never
And
see,
I
there's
think
no
the
teeth
word gets
behind it.
around that just like, well, don't worry about it, because you'll just go in front of the board and they'll say, well, you shouldn't do this, we'll give you a slap on the hand, and that's it, you're gone.
Right, and then, sometimes when it's a simple homeowner and it's a dumb mistake, I'm much more likely to resolve it, but when it's a repeat offender or a developer, sometimes I'm pretty frustrated.
Right.
People who know the rules. Okay.
Okay.
Good, thank you, sorry, I just wanted to ask what was going on.
Oh, fine, no problem.
So that was good.
Someone making a motion, we adjourn?
So quick?
I have one more thing.
Oh.
Because I wasn't here for the last two meetings, so that's why. Could we put Community Preservation Act discussion at our next meeting? I'd like to talk about maybe what projects we should be pushing
Yeah,
as a
yeah.
board for Community Preservation Act. There's money there now, and, what is it a priority for us? I think we might want to pull, Nancy, do we have the electronic copy of the open space plan? Do we have an electronic copy of it?
I can probably,
Yeah, if you don't, could you just send everybody one, because the
Yeah.
list is in there of all the different projects. You might
Right.
want to take a look and start thinking about it. And we can
Yeah,
talk a
even-
little
even-
bit.
Even properties that are still
Well-
either landlocked or up for sale or something.
Correct.
We could purchase and.
We could either purchase, or we could do things like suggest.
There's a committee that does that.
They are, but supposedly the Conservation Commission, it has the authority.
Authority over conservation land that's in,
That's
Right, and the Open Space Committee used to be a separate committee, but we are the Open Space Committee.
all right.
At this point. The last open space plan we did.
Mhm.
So, and, it may be things like that Beaver Brook connection to Ames Knoll, or maybe just access to some of that property that we own along Beaver Brook.
Yep.
It could be something smaller, but it's just, I thought we should start talking about it and try to figure out what's a priority for us. And maybe even getting them to help us buy signs might be helpful.
That was, I think I brought this up like 3 years ago, trying to get signs for trails or something.
Yeah.
That was either along, not Hancock Street, but the other street.
Yeah. The one behind,
Yeah,
Diane Circle,
right.
right? Isn't
Yeah.
that where it is? Yeah. And there's, over by me,
We wanted to
we bought a
connect
bunch
a
of
bridge or
property.
something between that and Brockton. I think we were talking about that
Mhm.
before.
And connecting maybe to Ames Knoll. I know there's an informal path, but
Right,
it
we're
would be
trying to
nice to
connect
formalize
the rail
it.
trail between,
Oh, Rockland and us.
yeah, Rockland and us.
Mhm.
And trying to get that to go.
That's all
even
paved
further.
now.
It's almost-
Yeah, it's
Good,
paved,
good.
yeah, but then
How
it's,
far they're along?
They're up to Monroe Street.
wow.
They're up on Monroe Street, yeah.
Yeah, and
They've got it
then
paved all the way down
somehow to
through-
connect the rail trail to
in
the
through
air
Rockland,
base.
heading down to a
So that's
channel.
the kind of stuff but maybe try to figure out a project that we would think is achievable, and maybe think about putting an application in for next year's funding. I
Right.
think the July funding we're done, but we're starting to work on the year after. And at this point, there's some money there put away so that we might be able to even purchase something if it's
Yeah, 'cause
smaller.
A lot of the other towns use CPA money for conservation.
Right, and
For a lot of stuff.
there's an open space piece of this, and, I think Griffin's Dairy has been filling that need, but, I think long-term, we should probably be involved.
Mm-hmm.
So that was all. Thanks.
Okay.
All right, I think it's time to go home. I make a motion to close the hearing, I'll stop talking.
I'll second the
All
motion.
those in favor?
Aye.
All those, yes.
Did you motion for me to stop talking?